This video is about a fundamental challenge for teachers and a solution. How do you get grades from Microsoft Teams into your official gradebook without having to do it by hand? I've written a free spreadsheet tool that will transfer your grades directly into your web-based official gradebook. Let me demonstrate, and perhaps you'll be gracious with a few minutes of your time. Imagine you download an Excel file from the Grades tab of your Microsoft team, then press the Teams Helper button in the ribbon, filter or sort as needed to match the two student sequences. With your official gradebook browser selected, press the Transfer button and feel the stress melting away. Keep watching to find out why this tool is needed, how to use it, some advice for setting up Microsoft Teams, a little bit of Infinite Campus specific advice on section groups, and how to get this. It is free. Why? Many teachers this year give assignments in Teams but need to transfer grades to an official gradebook program such as Infinite Campus. Microsoft and IC are working on syncing the two gradebooks. I've seen the hype video but yet to see the actual implementation. I also anticipate local challenges, especially in hybrid scenarios where the Teams rosters and official rosters may be different. So what's a teacher to do? The thought of tediously and manually typing and retyping scores from Teams to your real gradebook is utterly devastating. If we can't have true linked integration just yet, I've created the next best thing. Once you've downloaded your Teams gradebook, you will see every student, assignment, score, and feedback. It's all there, but clunky. Assuming you've completed the one-time setup process, simply press Teams Grade Helper in the ribbon. That will kick off some VBA code transforming that kludgy block of data into these pretty and genuinely useful worksheets. The first is a gradebook, the second is a grade list. Before these are generated, you will have the opportunity to edit the default sorting options as well as column widths and visibility. The generated gradebook is a more concise version of the Teams gradebook. In addition to sorting the students by your preferences, group and period are listed for each student. Conditional formatting is used to highlight missing work with a different color for zeros and yet another color for empty cells. Mousing over a student name displays useful information, including a list of missing assignments. Any feedback can similarly be viewed by mousing over a score. Mousing over an assignment name displays the point value, number of missing assignments, and the name, period, and group of every student who is not submitted. When printing the gradebook, you'll find a timestamp for Teams data and when the file was printed. This is also useful if you choose to save the generated spreadsheet for archival purposes. You can see the data filter hours at the top. You can filter, for example, for period 1, or perhaps all students missing a particular assignment. The generated grade list is also what drives the actual transferring. The generated grade list contains all of the same information but in a more granular form, with each row representing every score for every student for every assignment. This can also be filtered, for example for assignment 2. Based on your sorting and filtering choices, you can ensure that the list of students on the grade list is identical in content and sequence to the list of students in your official gradebook window. When you are sure the names line up, press the green Transfer Grades. You will be asked to verify that 1. The number of students match, 2. You've correctly specified the name of the browser window, and 3. That you've selected the first cell in the destination gradebook. When you press the green Make It So button, VBA code will blindly type the visible grades to the destination gradebook browser window. To keep the computer from typing too quickly and avoiding errors, it is sometimes necessary to add a little bit of a delay. This is the part of the VBA code that actually does the grading transfer. The transfer looks like this. The source and the destination rows should line up. If there are any mistakes, you will want to add a little bit of time to the delay, though this should rarely be necessary. Going back and forth between editing the grading list worksheet and your destination gradebook, you should be able to quickly transfer grades for a number of assignments. Now, when setting up your teams, I mentioned in a previous video, link below, my rationale for putting all sections and groups of a course into a single Microsoft team. It greatly reduces time-consuming redundant tasks in your workflow. But as a consequence, all of your students will be mixed in your team gradebook. Thanks to the roster worksheet, you can specify an optional period and group for each student. This will make it possible to sort and filter reports by group and period as described earlier. Infinite Campus users should take advantage of the section groups feature of the gradebook. This lets you view multiple sections or periods in one view. This is particularly powerful if you give the same assignments to multiple sections of Infinite Campus. Say a teacher has 4 sections of one course. I encourage that teacher to consider setting up one Microsoft team and to assign the same assignments to all 4 sections in both Teams and Infinite Campus. While viewing the section group of all 4 sections in IC, this will allow my Teams Grade Helper to transfer grades for that assignment to all 4 sections of your course at once. With a little practice, you could in principle transfer every assignment for all 4 sections within a couple minutes. This is especially true if you hold down Alt and Tab at the same time to toggle back and forth between the 2 windows. The Teams and official gradebooks aren't truly synced, but it does mean you will see your family again. Now to get the Grade Helper, there's a few things you need to know. You need to be on a PC running a desktop version of Excel. Perhaps someone can comment if this works on a Mac. VBA and Mac have a dodgy history, and I don't have a Mac to test on. While my school uses Infinite Campus, you should in principle be able to use most web-based gradebooks, as this uses the send keys approach. That is, the code simply presses keys like you would if you were a robot. I have verified that this works on Chrome, Firefox, and the new Edge. There is some initial setup. First time you use this, you'll have to go to mrhosey.com/gradebook, which will redirect you to a Dropbox link, and you're going to download this macro-enabled file using the down arrow. Press the down arrow and save a local copy. Then open the file. The first time it is opened, you will be asked to enable macros. You should know that you should never enable macros for any file you do not trust. It is code. I assure you this code is perfectly safe, but you should always think long and hard before enabling macros on a file. In fact, even without enabling the macros, if you press Alt plus F11, that's Alt and F11 at the same time, you can actually look through the code for yourself. The first time you open this file on your computer, there's a step you're going to want to take to put the button up here. You're only going to have to do this once. With the file open, go to File, Options, Customize Ribbon, and what we're going to do is we're going to add a tab. So hit New Tab. So go to the one above it where it says New Tab. Let's rename this something useful like Teams Grade Helper. Now there's a button that also needs to be named, and I'm going to name that something like Thanks Dan, and I'm going to choose a smiley face icon. Now we're not done yet. We haven't pointed this button to anything. What we want to do is go over here for popular commands and choose macros, because remember there's some code in this file. This is the name of the routine, Grade Transfer Tool. You're going to add that, and I also like to, I know it's a little silly, put the smiley face button. And then you hit OK. Now when you look at the top, this button is here, and when you push this, it's going to start the file. And that will be there every time you open up Excel. Let me show you what that looks like in practical use. Export to Excel from Teams. It's going to open up in Excel, and this button is going to be there waiting for you to save the day. Push the button. So putting it all together, I've just downloaded my gradebook from Teams, I've pushed the button, and now we're here. If this is the first time this year you've done that, you need to go to the roster sheet and add the groups and periods, or if there have been any changes. You're probably going to want to filter it by period and then last and first name, even though you may have many sections, because what I would have done ahead of time in Infinite Campus is set up a section group, and those are organized by section and then alphabetically within that. So that's how I would sort it here. But you can change it anytime you want. You're going to want to make sure your Infinite Campus window is open and that it is indeed named Infinite Campus or whatever yours is. Do the magic. And then you're going to get a nice looking sheet like this, the grade list. You're going to have to filter for a single assignment. So let's say assignment number 1, and it's the way we want it. So now what I do is I go over to here. I verify I'm in the first cell of the grade or the assignment. And now back to here, you press the transfer button. This is just a chance to double check, and then you make it so. And it does it like that. Although I can see I've got it very, very slow. So I'm going to decrease the delay. And I go back to the next column. Let's say I want to move on to the next assignment. I'm going to decrease this to pretty quick. That's as slow as it'll go. Now I'm going to do assignment number 2. Hit OK, so it filters, transfer grades, make it so, and it goes right down the line. Then when I want to do the next assignment, I just go over here, I filter for assignment number 3, verify my cursor is where it needs to be, press the transfer button, make it so. By the way, it's the Alt and the Tab button I'm pressing to go back and forth. So you can actually do your whole gradebook relatively quickly.
Thank you for listening. I hope that my hobby has somehow saved you time. If you have questions or if you'd just like to leave some feedback, I appreciate hearing about people using this. So thanks again.